So this weekend arrives this Cancer moon that comes right after the intensities of eclipse season that we've just been through. And wow, was it in a crazy eclipse season? I mean, on a whole number of levels. I've got tons of stories from friends, clients, myself, craziness. But this weekend is a powerful, very special moon. And it's perfect for healing, for rejuvenation, and for rest, and all of those things that we are going to need after eclipse season. So that's what this video is about. We're going to take a look at this healing Cancer moon and try to get some ideas about, how to best utilize it and how to lean into this weekend and this very, very special moment. So that's the first thing I'm going to start out with here is my Twitter, SJAnderson144. You can always follow me there. I'm engaging the astrology very actively on Twitter. Is my oldest social media platform in terms of my astrology practice. So I really do like it there. In spite of all the changes, it's a very great place to have this ongoing conversation with astrology, about astrology, using language, which is so powerful in terms of expressing astrology. But I had here this weekend's grand water trine with Venus, Jupiter, and the moon is one of those sweet astrological moments we get every so often that make it all living, astrologizing, make all of those things worthwhile, enjoy. And this is a kind of big idea that I just want to communicate here. Astrologers often talk about the calamity of the sky, right? Saturn, Mars, Pluto, these squares and oppositions and eclipses. It can often be very intense in talking about the potential risks of the transits and the risks of the transiting astrology. But there are these times where the astrology gets very sweet and very potently beneficial potentially. And those, I think we need to elevate our discourse to center those when they arrive. And this weekend is one of them. So I'm trying to hype it up for everybody because it's time to just enjoy it. And we're going to dive into these symbols, into the symbolism here. The one thing I want to mention right out of the gate, we're dealing with that's not what I wanted. We're dealing with a moon that will be enclosed between two trines. So remember, the trine aspect is one of the most benefic aspects planets can make. It is of the nature of Jupiter, the larger or greater benefic. And there's going to be a few hours this weekend where the moon will perfect a trine to this Scorpio Venus and then apply to a trine to Cancer, Jupiter in Pisces. While the moon is domiciled in Cancer, both the moon is in its domicile and Jupiter is in its domicile. And during the day, Venus has day triplicity rulership. So there's dignity with these benefics as they blend and mix here for just a few hours early Monday morning. And so there were some real powerful activations with the water trigon and the water signs. I don't have much in this video about the element water, so I'll just say that here. Water is the internal side of life. It's the emotions. Remember, our bodies are made up of water. We're very sensitive to even the moon pulls the water in our bodies. It creates the tides. Water is, like I said, it's part of, I think, the sensitivity of the human body to even emotions we carry in the body. Trauma gets carried in the body. That's the way that water can take on energy. So that's part of this water element. It's very much an internal exploration. Of course, in later tarot systems, its water element is often equated to emotions. And emotions are about how we feel, but the imprints, the psychic and bodily imprints that we carry. And so it's perfect, again, for this eclipse season where Scorpio was so prominent, or maybe we've been moving through shocks to our inner imprints or, more traumatic events with Venus and Scorpio in those eclipses in its state of exile, Mars retrograde ruling that Scorpio stellium, remember. So this is a perfect time to kind of go inside and kind of try to empathize with ourselves and love ourselves, basically. It's like a love yourself weekend when we just look at the water element. Let me just keep going here. I want to kind of move fast. The moon has left the sign. Another tweet, I was saying it's left the sign of its eclipsing. So the first stage of eclipse season is over. That happened 19 hours ago from when I'm recording this. But this intense eclipse season is the major theme. We're now kind of fading out of it. And so again, when you get this Cancer moon, it's a wonderful time. It comes at a perfect time in terms of the timing. Astrology is often like that. And I just want to say here, part of my eclipse story, man, I've been working really hard. I've got videos on my channel, but then I'm also producing and researching and writing, part of the team here that's making these videos on Dan's channel, World Astrology Report. We just released the second one, and we just recorded the third. So it's been really intense. I was actually recording with Dan. Our schedules it worked out this way during this eclipse as it was going exact for episode 3, which will be about Uranus and Gemini. but just a lot of busyness for me, for these eclipses. And I always say I like to wind down if I can, but sometimes life just takes over. And that was my story. So I'm kind of just recovering. I'm looking for this weekend, this healing Cancer moon, just to have less intensification around my work life, which is how it manifested for me. But you can check out the second one we released just 2 days ago, Astrology, the 2020s, The New Frontier. We talk about Neptune and Saturn conjoining in the first degree of the zodiac, Aries 1, in 2026. Going to be a huge, huge, huge transit, defining transit of the decade. Okay, here are the details of these dates. The moon enters Cancer on 12 November at 1:22 in the morning here in Central Europe. So it's Thursday the 10th, Friday the 11th. It's Saturday morning in Central Europe, 1:22 a.m. So basically, it's all day Saturday, starting, or 22 hours and 40 minutes of Saturday in Europe, and in America, it'll be all day Saturday. Aussies and down under folks, and China and Japan, it'll be less Saturday, but you're going to have this Saturday evening for everyone with this Cancer moon. But the enclosure comes on Monday. And so this is the 14th of November, 8:54. The moon perfects the trine to Venus in Scorpio, moon in Cancer, and then 11:40. The moon perfects the trine to Jupiter in Pisces. So this would be a really great way to start this week here in Europe. If you're maybe take some time off the first half of the day on Monday. If you're in America, this would be at nighttime. Maybe you'll just sleep really well. Sometimes when there's really sweet transits and the moon is the body and the comfort and all of those things. So look for a great night's sleep. Try to make sure you set yourself up for that. If you sleep at night, I like me, I have a circadian rhythm disorder. I'm not always sleeping at night. So some people don't sleep at night. You may be up for this and stay up and enjoy this if you're in America during this time. Aussies, down under folks, you'll get this later in the evening where you are. And then later on Monday at 1:47 here in Central Europe, the moon will leave Cancer. But this is so that's just the timing of it. Let's keep going. The lunar mansion where this happens, always can look at tropical lunar mansions to dig deeper into the meaning of what a bonified moon may be. One of my favorite ways to examine anytime the moon is anywhere, but especially when the moon has what we call conditions of bonification, where the transits make the moon even sweeter. Well, we can look at this mansion. Where is this mansion of the moon? And this one's called it's the 10th lunar mansion. The forehead al-Jaba is what it's called in the Arabic. And pardon me if that's a pronunciation. It's probably a bad pronunciation, but I love the website lunarium.co.uk. It's the best for the mansions. They have it's well researched and well summarized. And they look here, it's right in this 10th lunar mansion. What's it good for? Love and friendship, social activities, studies, health, spirituality, building. And it says the essence: recovery, benevolence, help against enemies. But recovery is what I'm focused on here because of this eclipse season. It's been so profoundly intense with elections, and crypto crashed again. A lot of people are dealing with that trauma. You have a time maybe to recovery and heal. It's not good for traveling. Of course, the moon is the home. So staying at home this weekend to heal and maybe stay off drugs. Don't let that Pisces, Jupiter, get you deep into some kind of trippy drug experience. You may want to just rest in more of a purified way if you can. But again, this is the mansion. The summary here is the lunar mansion is for healing and recovery and health and spirituality. And it really underscores the context of this timeline. So I think that's very, very poetic. And I'm not sure why I have this here again. Here's the dates. I'm not going to repeat that, but there it is. A lot of this is Saturday, Sunday, and then it peaks early Monday and in Europe and the Americas. This bonification moment happens. Okay, here's the chart. I just want to look a little bit more at the chart. You can see here's the bonified moon. In this chart, I'm able to get it where I am, the moon right on the IC. When you want to make a planet prominent in some kind of election, and always you can use the moon as that stand-in because the moon is everything in all elections. If everything flows through the moon, the planet closest to us. So you can put the moon on an angle. One of my favorite things to do whenever I'm looking for an election or for a sweet spot. So I got the moon right on the IC here, 11:25 where I am, and you get Jupiter in the 3rd, and you get a Venus in the 11th. So you get a 3-7-11 um, 3, 7, 11, water trine, grand water trine activation in this chart. People houses, relational houses. Of course, where everyone is, this can be a little bit different, but you can just try to lock in the moon on an angle. And because if you do that, you will get, you'll get, anyhow, I'm not going to go, sorry to stop my flow here a little bit. It's a whole conversation about where to place things when you have elections. I would say get the moon on an angle, get Venus on an angle, or get Jupiter on an angle if you can. I would prioritize the moon there, maybe Jupiter, because they're the strongest planets in this chart. The thing I like about this is you get the date triplicity rulership for Venus here. So all of those 3 planets that are close get that dignity. But keep in mind, it's like the water, the sensitivities, the love, the body, the rest, the healing. Jupiter and Pisces, the higher level truths you might want to contemplate, like wisdom or godliness or spirituality this weekend. Where's your Jupiter and Pisces story? How's that been since late October? I think 28 October it came back into Pisces. Have there been new revelations or new access to your spirituality or whatever house that is for you? And then Venus in Scorpio. It's the kind of beauty in the pain. This is my favorite way to think about the unorthodox expression of Venus and Scorpio. Venus is beauty. It's an adornment planet. It's the pleasure planet. And Scorpio, it has to filter through Mars. And sometimes it's like the rough edge that can be beautiful. And, whatever you went through during eclipse season, you can kind of think about the higher beauty, the bird's eye view beauty of it all. That's kind of how I would get into this. And the empathy, right? Emotions imply that we have empathy. Venus is a planet of connecting with others, and so is the moon in Cancer. So you might want to think about other people's struggles, if that's been part of your eclipse story, and the ability to mother and be empathetic and love and nurture another person. It's just one of the best things that humans can do. It's not about me, it's about others. And I can use my skills and tools to alleviate others' pain and suffering. I think there could be some real opportunities for that with like a spiritually centered kind of nurturance. That's sort of my quick delineation here. Not going to go into much more. Just want to say, come to Rudyard. He writes about Cancer, remind us all. My favorite lines, I think, about Cancer from his Pulse of Life. And he says, a creature of the sea always symbolizes the collective, or rather the generic unconscious, the universal matrix of life. We're dealing with the mother Gaia, right? Cancer is the most complex sign in many ways. And it was the rising sign of the Thema Mundi, the birth chart of the universe that ancient astrologers developed as a teaching tool. So Cancer is kind of fundamental to reality itself, the depths of reality, the depths of pain and joy and suffering and love. I mean, all of the kind of panoply of feelings and emotions, panoply, I think, that we can experience as humans. It comes into the sign of Cancer. And I think about the matrix, the mother matrix, the Gaian matrix. It's like this kind of deep and profound, what is this that we're in, that I think we can contemplate. Jupiter and Pisces trining that moon really does help with those contemplations, deep digging in our spiritual essence and at our spiritual core. You might want to do some of that as you're recovering this weekend, resting and nurturing and eating the food you like and drinking the teas and loving your body. Contemplate, what does life mean? What is life for? One of my great teachers, I think it was Howard Cohn, again, a Vipassana Buddhist teacher I had, was always, what is life for? What is life for? And this contemplation, I think one of his teachers taught him this sort of questioning. What is life for? What is life for? And you can just go deeper and deeper and deeper. This might be part of the moment that you'll get answers, because your life may have a specific purpose. So my life's for this and this and this. It might clarify this kind of primal purpose for you being embedded in this matrix, in this lifetime, in this incarnation. Okay. I was going to do this. I think I want to kind of wind the video down, but I wanted just to point out the reason why Cancer is so complex. It's one of just a few signs where you have a domicile ruler, an exaltation ruler. Jupiter is the exaltation ruler of Cancer, and it's making a trine to the moon. So the moon has this support from its exaltation ruler, and it's domiciled. That's part of the sweetness. And then its day triplicity rulers, Venus, Mars. So there's a bunch of planets here that impinge on Cancer. And one way I love to explore significations of signs is to go into each of these rulers and think about how they might apply to the Cancerian. I was going to do that, but I don't want this video to drag on too much. The one thing I'll say, I've talked a lot about Venus and Jupiter here in the moon, but Mars being the night triplicity ruler, Mars is what we want to use to defend, and it's very much a part of the relational side of things I already talked about, the empathetic. Sometimes our empathy will compel us to act in defense of others. If someone's suffering and we're assigned as a caretaker or as a close associate, we can kind of deploy that protective side of Mars. Remember, the crab has the pincers, and it's this side of using the Mars to protect. Maybe you'll think about that this weekend as protecting your loved ones is effectively maybe the quick way to say that. But I'm not going to say too much more here. This is just one way into signs, and I wanted to bring this table in from the astrology podcast. Thanks, Chris, for making this. Okay, and then I was going to close here with a little bit more of the chart, but I think all I want to repeat here is that use it this weekend. I mean, it's beautiful astrology. It's the kind of stuff we wait for to enjoy. And so you may want to just, even when the moon's not bonified, okay, by sign, it's getting these benefic trines. It's a sign-based grand trine, also, Saturday, most of Saturday, all of Sunday. And I think it's a great time to use this. I mean, even the Sunday moon, as it's applying to Venus, that's all day. That's a good chunk of time on Sunday. You get the moon coming to apply to, Mercury and then Venus. But you can just use this astrology, enjoy the weekend, have some hope and optimism, share some love, get empathetic, get into your feels, as they say, in your emotions. But it's a special transit, and it comes at a wonderful time. We need it. Post-eclipse season, Mars is retrograde, Saturn's very powerful, the intensities of Jupiter and Pisces, and the intensities of the Scorpio stellium. I mean, this is a wonderful time just to kind of let it all go and let it wash over you and kind of recalibrate with your core and your spiritual core. So that's it. That's the essence. I just wanted to make this to get it out here, so you have some guidance for this weekend. You can always go to my website, sjanderson144.com. Let me slow down. There it is. You can links to videos and about me and the readings, contact me, all of that here. So that's it. And I'll just say, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy these really sweet transits. And I hope you're doing well after eclipse season. We shall talk very, very soon. Take care. Okay, bye.